Welcome to Curtis Goes Corner, coming to you from a secret underground base in occupied America. Welcome back, and those of you that are new, welcome. Well, let's see what the Biden administration is up to and what I call Balloon Gate. White House press secretary gets scorched for fumbled explanation on China's spy flights. What a load of crap. Former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker tweeted, "What a load of crap." That sounds like me. So either they're starting to sound like me or I'm sounding like them. Let's get a quick listen to the press secretary for the White House, the spokesperson, the mouthpiece, so to speak, for Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre. Great name, but not too bright. Let's listen.
Is this the first Chinese balloon that the U.S. identified flying over U.S. airspace under this administration?
So what I can say is that we have talked about China's balloon program. We have generally on this, the Chinese surveillance balloons program has been around for some time. We even briefed Congress this past August. So I don't have any specific on any other balloon during this president's administration, but there has been a program that has been in effect. We have kept Congress abreast on that. But I don't have anything more to say or to share.
Whoops! There it goes. Yep, my brain stopped.
Wah, 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 wah. Sounds like the adults in Charlie Brown saying absolutely nothing. Let's read on. White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was blasted on Monday after she tried to explain the revelation. There had been 3 Chinese spy balloons during the Trump administration, but were never informed. I still can't confirm that. Some say it's true, some say it isn't. Either way, it's nothing to do with Donald Trump. And if that's true, and there was other instances during the Trump administration when the balloons came over, and they never told the Joint Chiefs, or the Joint Chiefs never told the president, in this case Trump, that's a big deal. That's the military running things. It's not a coup, of course, but not telling the president of the United States, and even including Joe Biden, that there's a foreign object invading our airspace and our sovereignty is a big frickin' deal. It's a huge deal. The military is not in charge of this country, unlike other countries. But in this case, they were. A Chinese spy balloon was discovered floating on the U.S. over the weekend. Most of you know about that. A defense official said on Saturday there had been 3 instances of Chinese spy balloons that briefly traveled over the United States during the Trump administration. Trump and his top defense national security officials told Fox Digital that they never briefed on any Chinese spy flights during Trump's tenure. During the White House press briefing, a reporter asked, how is it possible that this administration discovered at least 3 previous balloons that flew over the U.S. under the previous administration, but Trump officials didn't know what was happening? Jean-Pierre offered an unclear response. Yes, so look, I think that we have talked about this before, about how when the PRC government surveillance balloons transited the continental U.S. briefly at least 3 times, as you just mentioned, during the prior administrations, and once that we know in the beginning of these administrations, she said.
Whoops, there it goes. Yep, my brain stopped.
But never for this duration of time. It's hard reading this because she talks in such chopped up sentences. But never for this duration of time, as we know. So how is it that Joe Biden knew about it, but Trump and his people and administration didn't know? That's a big deal, folks. A big, big deal. Just like when they lied to President Trump about withdrawing troops from Syria. He's the commander-in-chief, so is Biden. When they give an order, it has to be carried out. They lied to President Trump concerning how many troops were pulled out of Syria. Who's really running things? It's not a military coup, but it makes you wonder why they have the authority or even think they could get away with such nonsense of not informing the National Security Council and also the president. Scott Walker, of course, talks like me when he said, what a load of crap. It's amazing. Yeah, so look, I think we talked about this. Yeah, he talked about nothing. It's so cringe to watch her lie, deflect, mumble, stumble, but make it up as she goes along and ignore adult questions, public relations specialist Cheryl O'Reilly said. Yeah, absolutely right. Fumble and stumble. That's why I had a hard time reading what she said because it's so chopped up and incoherent. And then it shows a picture of when I believe some fighters went up and finally shot it down off the coast of South Carolina. Independent Women's Forum Erin Perrin slammed the spokeswoman for not appearing prepared. She does a disservice when she does not prep on simple questions like this. There's been news today that Trump administration officials were on the record saying these type of Chinese balloons did not happen then. She tweeted, seriously, folks, not hard to guess what questions might come up. Yeah, no kidding, do you think? Gee, we might get a question on this. So let's hear the fumbling and mumbling again because it's hard to really read, but this is the spokesperson for the President of the United States. Basically, this is Joe Biden. Makes sense, I guess. He's mumbling and fumbling, and so does she.
At least 3 previous balloons that flew over the U.S. under the previous administration, but Trump officials didn't know it was happening.
Yeah, so look, I think that, and we have talked about this before, about how when the PRC government surveillance balloons
Whoops, there it goes. Yep, my brain stopped.
transited the continental U.S. briefly, at least 3 times, as you just mentioned, during the president's prior administration. And once that we know of the beginning of this administration's, but never for this duration of time, as we know.
Okay, that's enough. I don't want to put any more pain to you guys. You telling me there's not a single person in the administration who could do a better job than this, co-founder and president of Real Clear Politics, Tom Bevan said. Yeah, there's not a single person. So let's cut through the crap before we all drown in it. We all know why the Democrats picked her. I'm on 90 days probation here on YouTube, so I can't get into the weeds on things. I've received an unfair strike. It's just, how is it possible this administration discovered at least 3 previous balloons that flew over the U.S. under the previous administration, but Trump officials didn't know? Yeah, like, Katie Pavlich, who I like a lot, they're making this up to somehow make Biden's disastrous and embarrassing response better. It's pathetic and dangerous. Yeah. And there's the balloon as it was punctured by a missile from one of the American fighters. I love this on the caption, the suspected Chinese spy balloon. China already said it was theirs, but it's a commercial information gathering. Yeah, there is no such thing as a private commercial company in China, so let's cut through it. Podcaster Joe Miller III made an old school comparison to criticize Jean-Pierre's job performance. I don't mean to be political or mean, but every time she is challenged on a question, she sounds like Dick Harper in Moneyline interview in Fun with Dick and Jane, he wrote. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. Simple questions like that. Alexander Hall was associate editor for this story. Now, let's go back. How is it possible that President Biden didn't know? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but I'm going to go back, and I think the Biden administration lied. I think they didn't know what to do. I think they're the hole-in-the-wall gang and shot themselves in the foot. Again, they do it all the time. Made the country look incredibly weak. Most powerful military in the world look incredibly weak. And at the same time, our military has information they're not relaying to the commander-in-chiefs in the National Security Council. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. I'm not sure if this was done to try to cover up the fact that in the next few days, the State of the Union address is coming. So Biden has something else to talk about, but it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. What a load of crap is exactly right. Who's going to get fired? Who's going to get reprimanded? Who's going to get demoted in the military, in the National Security Service and intelligence agencies for not telling President Trump about the incursions in our sovereignty. And if it's true, they didn't tell Biden either. Or the people that are really running the United States, they didn't tell them either, i.e. Biden's staff and administration. The military reports to the elected government. This is a huge, huge, huge deal. Is it because they think Joe Biden is so incoherent that he couldn't handle it? Somebody said, well, we didn't tell President Trump because he's too aggressive. Yeah, Trump would have shot it down. What did Biden do? They didn't tell a soul until somebody saw it in Billings, Montana from their office building and took a video of it. And then they had to say what it was. And as it floated over a lot of where our ICBM sites are for our nuclear capabilities in Montana and other states, they did nothing. Now they're saying nothing was transmitted to China. That's a lie. Why would they put a balloon to the other side of the world without getting any information at all? The fact of the matter is the Biden administration didn't know what to do. So they just used the guys, well, we're not going to shoot it down because it might hurt somebody, which is a lie because thousands of satellites have fallen since the 60s. I've never heard of one person getting hurt. And they went into one off the coast, and they supposedly recovered it from the water. And the Chinese are raising hell. Well, which they always do. Strongman tactics, just like Russia does. So what did he do? He did nothing. He did nothing. So it's going to be somebody's behind. The Joint Chiefs, somebody in the military, somebody in the intelligence agencies. We're going to see who gets fired. Nobody. We're going to see who gets reprimanded. Nobody. And it will go on as usual. And again, we look weak. We look like the game that couldn't shoot straight. I don't know, folks. When the largest military, I should say the longest military in the world, looks weak and ineffective, that could be a world of hurt for the world. We'll have to see how this works out. Just another screw up by the Biden administration. And of course, the Biden's mouthpiece, the press secretary, is just inept. She should go. Get somebody else. But we all know why she got hired. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.